Well, hi everybody. It's Father's Day weekend, and today is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there. And it's time to do the weekend video. Get ready. Well, hi everybody. If you're new to the Gospel Revolution, but you've been with us long enough to realize that we proclaim, preach that Jesus did save the whole world, and that everybody who has ever lived has been redeemed by the cross of Christ 2,000 years ago. Um, if you come from backgrounds like most of us come from, all of us really, we all come from some sort of background that says you've got to believe to be saved. And so, one of the most popular questions to new people is, so what about you get the issue you've got to believe? And but you've probably heard enough from us already that we talk about it was always about one man and one man, and all were condemned through Adam's disobedience, and all were raised to life through Christ's obedience. And um, that actually comes from Paul and his letter to the Romans, and specifically in chapter 5. He explains how that literally all were dead and condemned to sin because of the sin of the first Adam, and raised to life in the last Adam. And so the same all who were condemned were raised to righteousness and salvation and life everlasting in Christ. Um, but Paul also is familiar with the issue of the believing. And so Romans doesn't stop at chapter 5. He actually starts addressing it in chapter 10, but he brings it to its thoughtful conclusion in chapter 11. In chapter 11, he talks about how when it came down to it and Jesus was going to the cross, when it came down to it, he says, no one believed. And he quotes Isaiah that prophesied that no one would believe because God would blind them and keep them from hearing and understanding so that they couldn't believe. John made that same conclusion in his gospel. He said when it came down to it, no one believed. And he also quoted Isaiah saying the same thing because God prophesied it would be so, because he himself would keep everybody from believing by stopping up their ears and blinding them. So, or stopping up their understanding and blinding them. But the issue of believing, it was there, especially in John. If you And most of his statements about belief are between chapters 3 and chapters 12 of the Gospel of John. But the conclusion was nobody believed. Well, if we go back to Romans again in chapter 11, where Paul is addressing that very same thing, and he says that God was the reason why nobody believed because God made it so, he concludes himself and says, therefore, God concluded all in unbelief, so he could have mercy upon all. And how do you have mercy upon all? Because Jesus, in like manner to Adam condemning everybody, it was Jesus' obedience and his belief, which was part of his obedience, which was imputed to us all for righteousness and everlasting life. Our belief never had anything to do with God's salvation plan. It was always going to be Jesus doing it all. However, our unbelief always played a part in that mystery of the plan of salvation that God revealed at the cross in his Son 2,000 years ago. I hope that gets you um, uh, more understanding as to what the belief issue is about and specifically was about, and who is the one who fulfilled all righteousness, and that would be Jesus Christ. Um, uh, this subject is massive, and I'm going to post a link below to a teaching series that you can download from Mike Williams, where he talks extensively about this. The series is called The Mystery of Unbelief, and I highly recommend you get it. And so look for the link below this video on YouTube, and have a revolutionary week.